Hello, twisted humans.
Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting?
Then this is the podcast for you. I'm Alecia.
And I'm Sierra, and this is
Twisted and Uncorked. Okay. We have clapped. Did we clap?
We did clap.
No. Okay. What was I there for?
You counted down.
I'm not confident sometimes that I'm here for these claps. I swear to God. All right. What do you got for me, my friend?
So I just found this new article from bestlifeonline.com. And it's called 65 So Weird You Won't Believe They're True. I'm sorry, 65 Facts So Weird You Won't Believe They're True. And it literally...
Are you reading me 65 weird facts?
No, just one. Number one is already good enough. This literally just came out March 24th, 2021. So...
Shit.
Yeah, this is like new info. Number one. For those who romanticize a burial at sea... The company Eternal Reefs offers an innovative solution. It mixes the cremated remains of a person with concrete to create a pearl, quote-unquote pearl, onto which loved ones can etch personal messages, handprints, or environmentally friendly mementos. The pearl is then encased in a reef ball that is dropped into the sea where it provides a new habitat for fish and other sea life, helping encourage a vibrant ecosystem.
I love that. If I was not so afraid of the ocean.
I mean, I don't much love the ocean either, but I know a lot of people do. And that's super awesome. Like, personally...
we love the ocean. Let us rephrase. We love the ocean, but we're scared of what's in it.
Yeah. Personally, I'd rather be a tree than coral reef. But... if you want to be
that is freaking
coral
cool.
reef, like you got the option now. That's
and I love
awesome.
that it creates a new ecosystem.
Yeah,
like that's so cool.
So
you could do
sweet.
something good with yourself.
Yes, everybody do something.
I'm still
good with
undecided.
Yourself.
I really like the idea of being a tree too.
Yeah, I really want to be a tree. Really, really.
So that is magical. So my fun fact for you is kind of like ocean-like-y. It has to do with prisoners, though. So, did you spill?
Nope. Yes, drip? But not on my shirt. I'm good.
Yahoo!
It's a white shirt with a red drink.
Yeah, I was going to say, and it's an elephant, so it's extra tragic if it's ruined.
I need to go and get my straw, honestly.
What are you doing with your life? Where is your straw?
On my kitchen counter.
Run.
Okay, hang on.
Run. It's... Yeah, so, fun fact. So... before lobster was considered a delicacy or seafood was a high-end cuisine, prisoners were usually fed lobster because it was so cheap and easy to come by. So to be a prisoner back then, living like kings.
What year was this?
Like 1990s, like a long ass time ago.
Pre 1900s?
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
I said like, 1990s. I meant 1900s.
Yeah, I was like,
You're
how old do you think we are?
Yeah.
What year is it?
Time ago. Oh, and welcome to episode 20 of Twisted and Uncorked.
Mm-hmm.
We are doing an unsolved case today. Or
yes.
Sierra is, rather. And before we get into that... we have some sangria with our delicious Italiana Moscato wine from last week. Mm-hmm. Sierra, what is in here that you keep making faces at?
Okay, so the recipe says a red wine, preferably Pinot Noir, which is not what we used, plus a sweet cherry juice, which I did not add because this wine is already sweet.
Yes,
and
I
then
did the same thing.
Cherries. I used fresh cherries, fresh raspberries, fresh apples, and then it said an orange liqueur, but I used apple because there was already apples in it. My issue here is these specific flavors together, the sweetness of the wine plus the fresh cherries plus the apple liqueur, it's just really like accentuating that super sweet liquor taste. And every time I take a drink, I'm like, whoa, that's really sweet. Whoa, that's really liquor. So, like, it's just weirding me out. It's good. It's not my favorite. My favorite wine, definitely not my favorite sangria.
Okay, interesting. I could not find raspberries. They're not exactly in season here, but I did apples and fresh cherries. Thank you to my beautiful coworker Peggy for bringing me cherries because they are fucking so expensive here right now.
Oh my gosh, I have seen people all over California. One of my mom groups on Facebook is like more than 60% moms in California. And in California, cherries right now are $8.99 a pound. How much were yours?
About that.
Here in Tennessee, I got these for $2.99 a pound.
Atta girl. It's not bad. What I have done is pretty good.
Yeah. Mine, I don't know if I used too many cherries, too many raspberries, too much apple mix, but it's just really sweet. Like, even sweeter than the wine that's already sweet.
Do you have, like, soda water or, like, club soda or something?
No.
No. Well, suck it up. Drink up.
It's fine.
I meant that in a loving way, not like a too bad, so sad.
Yes.
For the record. Okay.
I know these things.
Okay.
Listeners might hate you if they don't know.
Yeah, I know. They're like, wow, Alicia's so mean to Sierra. It's ridiculous.
We're never, like, that way to each other.
No.
It never comes off that way.
I love you. I love you so much.
I know. I love you.
Aww.
Okay. So,
From
time
love
to talk about
to
death.
Darkness.
Yes, honestly, this one is really sad. So the unsolved case that I'm covering today is actually a listener request. I'm so sorry I didn't write down your name. It was a TikTok listener /
Nice. Follower.
There we go. I was looking for that word. Who suggested that we research and cover this case, and I did a little quick research, found it extremely interesting, and had to dive in deeper. So,
and please keep those recommendations coming, guys.
Yes.
I keep seeing them pop up daily. That is so awesome, and we want to know what you want to hear, so.
Yes, for sure. All right, so Elizabeth Collins was born on July 31st, 2003, and lived in Evansdale, Iowa. She was a perfect little angel, and I am probably biased when I'm saying that because everything I've read about her reminds me exactly of my own daughter.
Oh.
She had a close relationship with her mom and dad, her 3 siblings, and her friends. She was described as being a bit bossy, but at that age, it's not really bossy, it's a leadership thing.
Yeah.
My daughter is literally exactly the same way, and all of my daughter's teachers talk about how she'll make a great teacher one day. So,
oh, is that what she wants to do?
She changes her mind every 5 seconds, but yes.
Which is normal as a kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, God. How many times have I changed my mind?
Yeah. She's finding her voice.
Elizabeth was also very caring. She had a dog named Gus that she treated just like her own little baby. She loved both makeup and hockey.
Oh,
she
Jesus.
Was
Are you sure this is
I know!
And that's spooky.
Is my daughter.
It's really spooky so far. And now that you've prefaced it this way, it's probably going to rip my heart out even more. Is. So thanks for that. I'm going to just go ahead and
drink. Go ahead. She was just a perfect kid with a perfect family life, and she is my daughter. Elizabeth was also really close with her older cousin, Lyric Cook Morrisey. Lyric was born on October 2nd, 2001, and she was another perfect little angel. She participated in all the after-school activities. She enjoyed doing gymnastics and going bowling. She loved being outdoors. What'd I tell you? She's perfect. Lyric's family life was a little more troubling than Elizabeth's, though. She had just one older brother who she was pretty close with, but her parents weren't around as much as most people expect their parents to be. Both her mom and her dad had gotten into drugs a bit when Lyric was young, so the family thought it would be best if others would raise her. Lyric was still going to her Waterloo school. Waterloo was a town that basically connected to Evansdale. It was like the bigger city next to smaller Evansdale. And Evansdale, again, is where Elizabeth and the rest of Lyric's family lived. Lyric had recently been living with her family in Evansdale, though, even though she went to school in Waterloo. She was passed around between her grandmother and her aunts to be taken care of. One of her aunts being Elizabeth's mother. So they were cousins because their moms were sisters.
Okay.
So even though the girls didn't go to the same school, Elizabeth going to school in Evansdale, where she lived, and Lyric going to school in Waterloo, the two spent a lot of time together, not in school. When they were together, the girls loved to play cards or hang out outside when the weather was nice. On July 13th, 2012, the girls, on summer break, were staying together at Elizabeth's house in downtown Evansdale, while their grandmother looked after them. As they did often, the two headed out together at about 12:15 p.m. on a bike ride around the neighborhood. Their grandmother knew the route they were taking. It was the same route that they always took. So when they didn't return back at their usual time, she began to get worried. Once the girls' mothers arrived at the house, Elizabeth's mom first, then Lyric's, and Lyric and Elizabeth still weren't home, they got their friends and family together and started looking for the girls. They were hoping that the girls just interrupted their bike ride to take in some sun and hang out. And maybe they just lost track of time. Sadly, they didn't find the girls on their normal bike route or anywhere near the grandmother's home. I'm sorry, Elizabeth's home that the grandmother was watching them at. This was super difficult to research because a lot of bits of information were wrong in different sources. The reason that says grandmother's home is because originally I had written this as they were staying at their grandmother's because that's what other people wrote. And then eventually I found that it was actually Elizabeth's house and the grandmother was just watching them there. I don't know. It's all a big mess. I could be wrong about either one of those things. Not super relevant to the story. Around 3 p.m., the family decided to get the police involved. They formally reported that 10-year-old Lyric and 8-year-old Elizabeth were missing. The search started at Elizabeth's home and circled out from there, paying close attention to schools, parks, and trails where the girls may have ridden to and gotten off. Very quickly, police officers from neighboring towns and even the fire department aided in the search. At about 4 p.m., the search team happened upon Lyric and Elizabeth's bikes at the side of Myers Lake, a small park in Evansdale with a big nature trail circling the lake. Lyric's purse and phone were also near the bikes, but Lyric and Elizabeth were not found. Finding their belongings made the search even more serious. What if they went for a swim and drowned? What if they took a hike and fell off a ledge? What if something worse? Every possibility had to be investigated to rescue the girls. Myers Lake was partially drained. Divers were sent out to search for the girls, as well as scent-sniffing dogs, cadaver dogs, helicopters with infrared cameras, and many volunteers, all searching the area surrounding the trail and the lake. But nothing was found.
No.
For months, the local police, county police, and even the FBI investigated the disappearance of Lyric and Elizabeth. They even talked to and cleared thousands of child predators in the area. The only other clues leading to the whereabouts of the girls was one shop security camera showing the girls riding their bikes together away from Myers Lake. The FBI had ruled out an accident and were suspecting that the girls had been abducted by a stranger. And while they did suspect foul play, they also publicly stated that they still believe the girls were alive, being held somewhere. That was until they received a call on December 5th that year.
Ugh, I already don't like this.
2 hunters had come across 2 small female bodies in the woods of Seven Bridges County Park in Redland, Iowa. The bodies were later identified as being those of Lyric and Elizabeth. The park was 21 miles from Myers Lake, where the girls' bikes were found, and 25 miles from the last place they were seen on that security footage.
And sorry, remind me again how old these two are.
They are 9 and 11.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
I know. The park was 21 miles from Myers Lake, where the girls' bikes were found, and 25 miles from the last place they were seen on the security footage. So I think it's safe to say they didn't get there on their own. It's a long way to bike or walk, since their bikes weren't even there. Another thing I want to point out is that in all of the police reports, they always insisted on using the verbiage bodies instead of saying remains. Many sleuths speculate that this means the girls' bodies weren't badly decomposed and that they may have been kept alive for a while before being disposed of in the park. But we don't know this for sure because, much like in the Delphi case, almost all information regarding this case remains unknown. The police haven't given any details except that multiple witnesses reported seeing an old, clunky white SUV resembling a Bronco or a Suburban driving in Evansdale on the day the girls went missing, as well as being parked just a few hundred feet from where the girls' bikes were found near Myers Lake. So, literally, that's basically all we know.
Yeah.
After the bodies were found, again, they didn't give much information, but they did sort of change up their original thoughts about the girls being abducted and alive for a while, saying it is extremely rare for two victims to be taken at the same time and then kept alive together. It is
too high risk.
Right. It has only been discovered to have happened 15 times since 1974.
Holy shit.
So, that's over 25 years since this case. 15 times.
And generally, the assumption with child abductions is that they're harmed or killed within the first 3 hours, so...
This is why I always tell my children also to stay together. My kids are not allowed to play outside unless they are with each other. And it's basically because of that. People are less likely to take a kid when it's two of them, for one. For two, when it's two different genders. And for three, if one of them does get snatched up, the other one can scream, run, yell, and tell.
Yeah. Good parenting stats. Or good parenting strategy there. I respect it.
Have kids close in
age. This is nightmare fuel, guys. Exactly.
Yeah. So one of the times that this has been discovered to have happened was actually relatively recently to this case. In 2014, so 2 years later, a man named Michael Klunder kidnapped two teen girls in Dayton, Iowa. When one of them got away, he killed the other one, Kathleen Shepard, and then killed himself. He was a person of interest for a short while in this case of Elizabeth and Lyric, but he was quickly cleared when police were able to place him near his home on the day that Lyric and Elizabeth disappeared. Dayton is only 2 hours from Evansdale, but it's even farther from Redolin. Based on the distance and the fact that the two sets of girls were different ages, and for reasons I'm sure the police know but aren't telling the public, they decided to look into other leads, saying Michael Klunder is no longer a suspect, but they also said he's never going to be completely ruled out. There's no way to know for sure.
And he's dead, so...
Right.
Well, we'll never get that information if it's there.
Many people suspect that Bridge Guy from the Delphi case that happened 5 years later might be the same perpetrator in this case because of the similarities. Those being that they were two young girls off on their own in a park, though we don't actually know if Lyric and Elizabeth were taken from Myers Lake. We just know that somehow their bikes got there. Both sets of bodies were found in a sort of divot, like a downward slant, that wouldn't easily be seen when walking by. And the police are keeping evidence close and away from the public. Even though
only the killer knows the real facts about it.
Right. Even though it seems that these cases are being handled in a similar manner, the few details that we do know from the police aren't very similar. The Delphi murders happened all in one location. There was no abduction. This one happened in at least 2 locations, possibly 3 if the girls were abducted from somewhere other than Myers Lake. The bodies were found relatively quickly in the Delphi case, and it took months to find Lyric and Elizabeth. And while we don't know the cause of death in either case, police have assured people that the 2 police departments have compared the information and it isn't being released. The information that isn't being released, and they are sure that they are not connected.
Okay.
With police keeping so much information away from the public in this case, the media went on a bit of a frenzy to uncover more information and sort of try to solve this case on their own. A lot of information was brought to light by the media's investigating, but none of it seems to lead to closure. Some people think that a big cover-up may be to blame for the case going cold. But of course, I will let you decide for yourself. I also think it's important here to say that everyone I am talking about is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Most of this next information is factual. Some can't be proven, and therefore it is considered rumor. But we can speculate wildly for a bit. So, mostly facts, some rumors. We're speculating either way. As with most cases involving children, the parents are usually the first suspects. In this case, Lyric's parents were highly judged and thought to have something to do with this. As I stated in the beginning, Lyric's parents were caught up with drugs. And even more than that, Lyric's dad was actually on his way to trial for a drug-related charge, as well as for a domestic incident with Lyric's mom. So it was looking even worse for him. He was a habitual offender, and this most recent arrest was his 3rd offense. In Iowa, that gives the courts cause for sentencing him even harsher than just, the first drug offense. He was being charged with having meth, distributing meth, and cooking meth while his son, a minor, was in the house. On top of that, while he was out on bail to be with his family while Lyric was missing, so they let him out on bail because his daughter was missing, because they were like, okay, we're going to be nice. He was caught still using.
Oh, so just a general piece of shit that doesn't care that his daughter is missing. Cool.
But he says it was because of his grief. He couldn't cope with his daughter being missing. He turned to drugs. He was offered a plea deal of 10 years, but thought that he could fight it and decided against accepting it. And he was like, no, I had drugs, but everybody has drugs. Whatever. I'm going to fight this.
Everybody cooks meth in their kitchen. Sure.
I mean, drug crimes are tricky because meth is a bad one. You don't fucking do that one.
No.
But also it's still just drugs. And by not taking the plea deal after his trial, he was sentenced to 90 years.
Oh my God. That backfired hard on him.
Yeah. But also for him to know, you could be facing any of this, take this 10-year plea deal, and him being like, no. He must have thought he could have fought it, 90 fucking
or he's an idiot.
Years.
One of the 2.
90 years for drugs. My grandpa's murderer got less than that. Way less than that. I get it's bullshit, meth, but also it's murder. So, the fuck?
Meth, murder.
Yeah, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah. No, very true. That's extreme, but...
Yeah, he was sentenced to, a maximum of 90 years with the possibility of parole after 30, but still fucking 90. Okay, anyway. Lyric's mom was also eventually arrested on drug-related charges because she also lived in that house. And she was sentenced to 10 years, but she got paroled after just 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah. So, as with most cases, when drugs are involved, everyone wants to blame the drugs. In a lot of cases, drugs can be to blame, but in a lot of others, it's just easier to say that drugs were the problem even if they weren't, because other families feel safer. If the public can blame drugs for these two girls' deaths, then the public can also say, oh, well, I have nothing to be worried about with my kids because I'm not involved in drugs and that won't happen to us. And I'm pretty sure that's basically what happened in this scenario. The thought of drugs being to blame in this case got everyone in the community to think that's it. It's drugs.
Yeah.
If Lyric's own dad didn't do it, which he didn't, he was cleared. Then people thought maybe it was someone who he had wronged in a drug deal who, did this for revenge. Even Elizabeth's parents blamed Lyric's parents for their daughter being gone. And as a result, Elizabeth and Lyric had separate funerals where Lyric's parents were not invited to Elizabeth's funeral.
That's not fair.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So, I hate that.
They went through whatever happened together. They should have been remembered together. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
So while, probably over half of the community is blaming Lyric's parents, others thought that Elizabeth's parents weren't all that innocent. Okay. Elizabeth's mom did an interview with either reporters or police, not sure who was actually questioning her, but it was filmed right after the bodies were found. And she was acting super strange. Obviously, you can't take that to mean anything because she was probably hurting. She had just lost her child and found out that her child was likely dead. But a few things stand out to me. She says that her husband, Elizabeth's dad, came home on a lunch break, which he usually never does, but that day he did. She also says, as soon as her family members said they couldn't find the girls on that day, she said, take me to Myers Lake. She had a feeling they would be there. Apparently, she then went to Myers Lake and walked around asking people if they had seen the two girls, but she never found anything. She didn't find the bikes. She wasn't the one who found the bikes. And then she suggested, right after asking people if they saw them, let's call the police now. Once the bikes and purse were found, Elizabeth's mom claims that she asked if their shoes were there. And she says the reasoning behind this, it's confusing. From what I gathered, she was either saying if the shoes were there, then they must have gone swimming because people don't swim with their shoes on. But then she also said something about her daughter knows not to swim without adults. So maybe she did swim with her shoes on so that she wouldn't get in trouble or something. I don't know.
That's the weirdest explanation, but okay.
Really confusing. I'm not sure if she was trying to hint at them swimming or maybe only Lyric swimming, like her niece, not her daughter. Either way, we know they weren't in the water. Okay, we'll talk about it, but that's all fishy to me.
Okay, yeah.
How did she know to look at Myers Lake? Mother's intuition, maybe? I don't know. Weird. Okay.
I was thinking that too, to play devil's advocate, but
yeah.
At the same time, the shoe thing, weird.
Yeah. I mean, she just lost a kid, but still. Anyway, there's more. The person who found the girls' bikes worked with one of the hunters who found the girls' bodies.
Ew.
And the person who found the bodies was the best man of the police chief who was covering the case. So the police chief is covering the case. His best man finds the bodies. A couple months before, the best man's friend finds the bikes. The police chief was supposedly having an affair with Elizabeth's mom.
Oh, yikes.
Both the police chief's marriage and Elizabeth's parents' marriage ended shortly after. Also, the police chief, Kent Smock, was fired from his position due to being untrustworthy, having questionable morals, and creating a hostile work environment where his subordinates were fearful of him being allowed to carry a weapon on duty.
Oh my god.
While he was still in charge of the case.
Yeah, no. That's not a good feeling.
Yeah. And according to a Reddit user, as well as a blog owner, Elizabeth's parents were close friends with a known sexual predator.
Ew.
1 year after the girls disappeared, they had a memorial ride in Evansdale, And Elizabeth's, so like it was like a car / motorcycle ride.
Okay.
The person leading the ride, like the first person in line, it was basically a parade.
Gotcha. To remember the girls.
Yeah. Elizabeth's parents were in the first car, and their good friend, Hope Martin Anderson, who went by Buzz, was in the second car.
Is Buzz the sex offender?
In 1981, Buzz was arrested for having sexual relations with a 13-year-old girl, as well as having child pornography of both him and her together. He was 39 at the time.
Oh, no. Not okay, sir.
Since then, Buzz has become a prominent businessman in Waterloo, Iowa, and some people write off his crimes as saying that the sexual activity was consensual. Buzz was also
It's not consensual if you're 13.
Buzz was also at Elizabeth's funeral, where he released doves and continues to go to dinners and parties with Elizabeth's parents. So, like, as a parent, even if I was friends with this person in the past, thinking maybe it was just a misunderstanding, if my own child went missing and then was later found dead, like, even if the police haven't said whether this was sexual assault or not, I would never be able
friendship.
to be... Yes!
Yeah.
Never be able to talk to this person again, because all I would think about is...
In the back of your
You
head,
could have done
have
this.
something to do this.
Did you do this? Yeah, like... Whew. Okay. So, from this information about Elizabeth's parents now, a bunch of cover-up theories come in. Many people believe that whatever happened to the girls was known by Elizabeth's parents, and that her mom's relationship with the police chief and both parents' relationship with a prominent businessman was what made the cover-up possible. And then blaming the girls' death and disappearance, at least in the eyes of the public, on drugs would be an easy thing to do. According to many Reddit users who claim to live in the area, everyone there seems to have collectively agreed that the deaths are drug-related, and that's why it hasn't been solved. Their minds are already made up. Like, they're not investigating. They're not sending in any tips. They're like, it was drug-related, duh, like, move on. But in my opinion, a cover-up...
These sweet babies deserve justice.
I know. In my opinion, though, a cover-up wouldn't be likely, since the police technically could have pinned it on anyone. Like, they questioned thousands of sex offenders, especially Michael Klunder, the dead one, who couldn't have denied it. They could have pinned it on anyone. So if the police were involved, why didn't they just close it, you know?
Yeah, why are they leaving it open to speculation?
Also, there's other strange things that have happened regarding this case. This one is probably the creepiest. About an hour south of Evansdale is a little town called Belle Plaine. In December of 2016, so this is, 4 years later now? A woman named Teresa Catherine Gerlman and her son moved to Belle Plaine. A year and a half later, in 2018, they'd both be dead. Teresa worked at a center for people with disabilities and had been telling one of her coworkers that some of the men she used to hang around with had information about a murder of 2 girls found in the woods near Evansdale. Apparently, there were letters from those men in her home that proved it. She also told her coworker that the medication she was on made her want to stand in front of a train. On May 4th, 2018, Teresa and her son went for a walk very early in the morning. At 5 a.m., Teresa stood in the middle of the train tracks as a train was coming through. And at the very last second, she grabbed the hand of her 8-year-old son Henry and pulled him on the tracks with her. The 2 were killed instantly in what the police called a murder-suicide for unknown reasons. After learning about what Teresa told to her coworkers, the police executed...
I can't deal with trains.
I know. I'm trying to, keep it together and not cry.
I'm sweating. Oh, my God. Oh.
That poor little baby.
I know. That's horrible. How could you do that? I don't know.
Okay.
That's awful.
After learning about what Teresa told her coworkers, the police executed a search on her home and collected 4 cell phones, 2 notebooks, and some other things. But as
4 cell phones.
Right. Who has 4 cell phones and why? But as far as we know, nothing ever came from it. Or the police are keeping the information private along with all the rest. This July, next month, marks 9 years since the girls disappeared. Every year there is a memorial ride for the girls in Evansdale. Myers Lake, where their bikes were found, has been dedicated to the girls. The park at the lake is called Angels Park, and the trail around the lake is called the Trail of Angels. There are also benches in the park with their names on them. In an eerie twist, most of the funds for creating this memorial park at the lake came from pedophile Buzz Anderson.
Ew. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah. $1 million were raised to support the park and its new additions. However, $1 million for the park, the reward for a tip, though, is only like $150,000. Like, you needed $1 million for a park. You couldn't ask for more, like, tips with more money. Anyway, sorry, not judging.
Weird.
There has been no new information released to the public from the police. Many people hate that they're keeping so much information out of the public, but it seems to be working, at least in one way. Since the girls disappeared, 2 different people have confessed to this crime, but both were weeded out as false confessions because the details that they told were different than the details that the police have that aren't public.
Gotcha.
All we know is what I've told you. And the profiler claims that the offender is familiar with both Myers Lake in Evansdale and Seven Bridges Wildlife Area in Bremer County. They said that the offender chose Seven Bridges because he or she was familiar with the area and knew it was secluded. The offender blends in with and may be part of Evansdale, Bremer, or the surrounding communities. And they likely used quiet coercion to gain the girls' compliance into leaving Myers Lake, using a ruse or threats of violence. They also say that the offender may have been experiencing stress related to legal troubles, spousal problems, employment difficulties, financial strain, or mental health issues in July of 2012. They may avoid discussing the case altogether, or they may show a really great interest in the matter, likely following developments in the media. They may have attempted to abduct children or adults in the past. They may have altered their they may have altered their own physical appearance, such as changing hairstyle and facial hair, and also may have altered their vehicle's appearance with a new paint job or reupholstery after putting out that the white SUV was a vehicle of interest. The reward for leads in this case is $170,500 because $20,500 is coming from the FBI, I believe. If you have any leads or tips on this case, no matter how small, please send them in to Cedar Valley Crime Stoppers by calling 855-300-8477 or text CEDAR, CEDAR, and the tip to 274637. This case is still unsolved, which means at the very least, someone awful is still out there. Even if it's drug-related, a child murderer is on the loose. That person needs to be found. These girls deserve justice, no matter how good or bad their parents were.
100%.
And that's my case.
And we will include those, the text and the call numbers in our show notes if you guys have any information and are living in the area and you are not somebody that wants to chalk it up to drug charges. So,
yeah. What do you think? Like I don't even know.
Hold on one second. Can you talk again?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay, you're good now. Yeah, no. When you were telling that last bit, the profile, my volume in my headphones like shot up for some reason.
Oh,
and I
that's
didn't
weird.
want to interrupt you, but I couldn't see where the volume down button was. And I'm like, I'm going to go deaf. I also didn't want to yell for the last part of our episode, speaking of consistent audio.
Yeah.
So I am kind of in the same boat as you, where I don't know what to think. I think there's a variety of options here.
I'd like to think it's not.
My gut feeling does not like Buzz. Does not like him one bit. Just the fact that he donated the amount of money that he did, and like generally that speaks to grief
Or guilt.
Or guilt. And again, me and Sierra are just 100% speculating here. Nobody has been charged.
Right. Except Buzz with
his previous crime.
Right, 1981.
Sleeping with a 13-year-old girl. And these girls were 11 and 9 years old. So, not far off from those ages. And if that's a sexual interest of his, then... And it's not even possible that he is, like, sexually deviant in that way. And it might have just been a misunderstanding. Like, people are wanting to give him the benefit of the doubt. However, nothing is consensual at 13 years old with a 39-year-old man.
Not in
regardless of whether
1981. This isn't the fucking 1700s. Like, fucking no.
Exactly. Where
it was sketchy back then.
Yeah, where your 13-year-old daughter is being married to somebody because you sold them. That's different.
Yeah.
But it's not right.
Still sketchy, but different.
Even if those signals were being put out there that she was okay with it, which I'm doubting, being a 39-year-old man, you should have the understanding that this person
you should
is
not
young
be
and
even
confused.
a little bit sexually attracted to a 13-year-old.
Yeah, that's disgusting. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And you should have the wherewithal to be like, you're young. This is not what you want. I promise you, you will find somebody that will treat you well and love you, blah, 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 blah. That should have been that response, but it wasn't. So those actions are odd. The amount of times that he's participated in things is odd. I get a bad feeling from that.
I don't like that. It's not even that they're friends with him and participating in it. It's that they're allowing it while also condemning... Elizabeth's mom is condemning her own sister, saying this is your fault because you're involved with drugs. Meanwhile, I'm going to be best friends with this pedophile. Like, you can't have it both ways.
That is very hypocritical.
Yeah.
I think that Lyric's parents were in a bad situation. Drugs are scary, so scary, and addiction is scary. To a certain extent, that is considered an illness.
Right.
And I can't really blame them for that. I mean, I understand that they had put their child at risk by having that in the house while they were there. That could have exploded at any minute. That's not okay by any means. But
I don't think it's involved in a disappearance.
I agree. I don't think that even if it was a drug-related situation where maybe, like, Sierra raised the point, somebody could have taken revenge.
What kind of drug dealer hurts the kid? Two girls. Two tiny girls. Like,
I don't know. People.
First of all, Lyric's parents didn't even have the girls.
No, that's true. But,
like, if anything, you'd think they'd take the son. Someone who lived with them. Yeah. Why would they take the daughter who doesn't... Like, how would they even know to go and find the daughter? The daughter doesn't even live with them.
Yeah, that's true. Because, like, my thought process there is if maybe they owed money of some sort, and because the son was too close contact with the parents, that they went after Lyric as a means of she was more accessible.
Maybe, like, pay us and we'll give her back?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I personally don't think that they were kept alive for any amount of time. Like,
why were they found so long later, and why did they not say remains? That's what gets me.
Yeah, that's odd to me. Like,
reports always say remains.
Yeah, my instinct is that they were killed and then dumped. But like you said, it's months. So I don't know.
I don't know
such
either.
a small town, an abduction just
Well,
and to like
it's-
hold them some like it doesn't really make sense. Like
It's
it seems very high risk, but if they're familiar with the area and comfortable with the area, then they would know where to go, who those kids were to begin with, and
it's a quaint community, but technically the cities themselves kind of all run together. So in all, one of the articles that I was reading said that technically within 20 minutes is over 100,000 people. So it's not really that small of a town.
okay, that's quite large. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, my gut feeling doesn't like Buzz, but I don't want to judge him. I'm going to rule out the drug situation. I'm going to rule that out, and I think the town is just trying to tie it up in a nice little bow, which is kind of bullshit.
Yeah, I can see how it makes them feel safer, though. Like, that
Yes.
makes sense to me. To be
Yes.
like, oh, that'll never happen to me and my kids. No
Yeah.
worries. We're not
Yeah,
involved
I'm not
with
involved in a
drugs."
Brad crowd, yeah.
But the reality is that kids go missing every day, and it's not drug-related. So,
100%. It could have been somebody very random pulling through the town. Like,
Yeah.
there's really no way to
the
know.
crazy thing is, though, is it someone random? Because who takes two kids at the same time?
That's true. If
Like-
you're living in the community, and while the profile
That
says that
happens-
they're likely somebody that's comfortable,
Yeah.
it could be somebody that doesn't know the fucking town at all and is just passing through and saw
Well,
the opportunity.
It could be somebody that knew the girls, too.
Yeah.
To be able to, because it would, unless it was multiple people, it would be hard to force two girls into one vehicle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they weren't killed on the spot where they were found. They were not killed in, broad daylight at noon. And they were not killed where they were found, which was at a park 25 miles away. I mean, they were not there on their own and killed
And like
instantly.
you said, they were probably driven there.
Yeah,
Like,
so
there's
how
no
were
way that
they-
they rode their bikes that far on their own.
How
Like,
were they lured?
That's far. Yeah.
Like,
It had to have been somebody that they trust. It has to have been.
or with a gun? I don't know. It's so crazy. There's so many possibilities that need to be investigated. Also, how does this
I don't
train
get a great
lady
feeling. Yeah.
like what?
Yeah.
It's just a mess. I don't know.
Like, yeah. I don't get a great feeling from the police chief that was fired
yeah.
on the case. That's really icky to me. And if he was
I'm glad he's
fired
been
because
fired.
of the yes, exactly. Just based on the charges that you presented, his fellow police workers feeling unsafe. Like, they're trained to deal with unpredictable people and they feel unsafe in their own work environment. That is scary. The possible affair, like, that has a motive to me. Like,
Right. That came from a Reddit user who claims to live in the area and personally know of
Right.
this affair.
Right. So there's
That is
no
not
actual
in
source
any,
there. Okay.
Right. It's not in any news source.
Okay.
But, I mean, small town rumor usually has a little
There's some
truth
truth
behind
to
it.
rumors.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, the quickness in which both marriages ended speaks to that being true as well. Infidelity happens and it's horrible, and that's usually the biggest cause of splits. But it could also have been the fact that Elizabeth's parents suffered the loss of a child. We also know that it's very common that people separate after that because the grief is too hard, and they're just a constant reminder. That other person is just a constant reminder of the child that you lost. So you can't say that it's all... I don't know. I get a bad feeling from that, and I get a bad feeling from Buzz, and then the fact that Elizabeth's dad came home for lunch and he never did.
Yeah, that was
and we know
weird.
that's gross to me. I don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole sequence of events leading up to
And the
finding
quickness
the
for
bikes.
them to blame other people when they're being very hypocritical themselves. Like,
It's so weird.
that seems like deflective behavior. Like, oh no, like, it wasn't me, it was my druggy sister and her husband. And
Yeah.
like, look, I was taking care of her kid. Like, I'm a saint.
Right. But maybe she is. No one knows. No one fucking knows anything.
We're speculating wildly.
We need you people from Evansdale and Waterloo, Iowa, to please send in all your tips, because this is not solved. Whether you think it's drug-related or not, it's still not solved. Please send in your tips.
Keep your eyes and ears open.
We have to figure this out. I feel strongly about this the way I feel about the Delphi. And again, I'm glad that police chief was fired, but what kind of things may he have gotten rid of before he was fired?
Yeah.
Or not. I don't know. There's no answers. I hate it. I don't even have enough to come up with a theory.
There's less answers than there is in the Delphi case. And there's no answers there. So I don't like this at all.
Last week I was able to give a full, crack the case, solve the thing, gave my theory. I don't even have one in this case. There's too many possibilities.
And like Sierra said, whether or not it was drug-related, somebody that kills children is still out there. And that's not okay. I mean, it is very well possible that the man that had abducted those 2 teenage girls, Clunder. Yeah, I knew it was a fucked up name. It is possible that Clunder had something to do with it. Generally, with child or teen abductions, there can be a range of ages. It's more of a gender and an opportunity base. So that's possible.
Most people said...
It's very well possible, and even if it is possible, we don't know.
Right.
He's taken that to his grave.
Most people said that because of the age range specifically, that it was not... It was definitely not
likely.
Yeah. Well, I don't like the definitely anything.
You can't rule that out. You can't rule that out, though.
Their reasoning was that a 9 and 11-year-old girl are prepubescent, and a 15 and 14-year-old girl are obviously going through puberty. But you don't know that.
And
some
it's not
people
necessarily
develop later, some people develop sooner, and he doesn't know
and
what
not
age
all
they
crimes
are.
are sexually motivated either.
That's true.
And from the photos that I've seen of Lyric, she looked very mature for her age.
Yes, Lyric definitely did. Elizabeth, on the other hand, looks like
a baby. Yeah, I know. That hurt me to look at when you were telling the story. I Googled it, and I'm like, yeah, we need justice for your other kid over here, because this is insane. And just to point back at the age differences there, when we're talking about the Delphi cases, this recommendation came from Kelly Kind on Sierra's coverage of...
Thank you so much, Kelly.
The Delphi updates. So, the assumption there is that he had something to do with it. And I'm not naming names because I don't want to stir it up anymore, because we know he's still being held. Right. That was the last update I saw. But... he was found with a 9-year-old girl, and Libby and Abby were 12 and 13, which is significantly different in terms of development. So you can't always look at it that way. It might just be a crime of opportunity. Some people just like to inflict harm and pain on innocent people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it was Clunder, unfortunately, he takes that secret to his grave. In which, either way, if he did it or he didn't, fuck you, rest in despair, sir. But...
yeah, I think the biggest thing is... I don't know if there's not any physical evidence, or if the police just don't want to say if there is. But I feel like if there was, and it matched Clunder, he would have already been named the perpetrator.
And he wouldn't have been rolled out. So
either there isn't any, or he didn't do it. So I don't know. I don't know.
My top theories at this point are Buzz, because that's gross. I get that you're friends with these people's with this child's parents.
These parents also have 3 other children.
Yeah, and that's and that's where when you said I'm sorry, cease friendship. I can't trust you around my kids.
Yeah.
End of story. What parents are it's kind of gray area, I don't really know. You're putting your kids at risk by just having that as a maybe in your head. And
yeah, I
that's
don't
not
like
right
to
either. That's careless.
judge parents, but
I'm judging.
I'm fucking judging. Like,
I'm really judging. I don't
man.
judge parents for anything. One, because I'm not a parent myself. And two, because everybody has a different parenting style and you never know what's going on in somebody's house or what the full story is. But when it comes to somebody that hurts children and takes advantage of children, there should be no wiggle room for risk there. That's just
hurt or not, consensual or not, having
wiggle
a
room
photo
of
a 39-year-old man doing sexual acts to a 13-year-old girl, like, that's it. There are literal photographs of it. Like, that's game over. I don't fucking want to talk to you ever. Like, I don't care how much money you donate to my children. Like, stay the fuck away.
Yeah. So that is icky to me.
Yeah.
That's like a guilt thing. And we've seen that in previous cases that have been solved.
Yeah. It's
so,
sketchy for sure.
I don't like it. I have way too many questions. I know that there are a lot of similarities to the Delphi case, but the police have ruled them not related, which on one hand is a relief to me, but on the other hand is even more scary because now there's two
more
sets
people
of
like this.
child murderers in this area.
Yes.
Yeah, don't close. Always keep your mind open, people. If something is unsolved, don't take rumors and everything to be fact, because that's not necessarily what happened. And the cover-up things is odd, and the fact that this man would have possibly had access to evidence that might not be
and a woman killed
viewable
herself
anymore.
Possibly over this case.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
I'm trying not to go back to that because I
know, I'm sorry. You really don't like trains. I know that.
I really don't like trains. And
I really don't like the fact that she decided to pull her 8-year-old son in.
No, that's the worst. That's the worst part about it. 100% the worst part about it. I'm
Chills.
thankful that it was instant.
That's true.
That is the only part I am thankful for, because in a lot of murder-suicide cases, the children are usually killed in a more violent manner.
Yeah.
So I am thankful for that. But that doesn't make it okay. And yeah, like, what does she know that she couldn't deal with anymore?
No
like,
one knows.
Like, ugh, this is wild. You did an incredible job.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Kelly, for the recommendation.
Thank you so much, Kelly. I hope I did this justice in the way that you wanted me to. If you have more to add, let us know.
Yes. Please write in if you know any information that we didn't share today. And again, guys, keep suggesting cases like this because they deserve to be lifted. And no matter the size of our audience, somebody knows something everywhere. And
yeah, keep an eye out
accordingly. So.
This is not solved. The Delphi case is not solved yet.
No.
I know we were the ones who informed you that this new guy might be Bridge Guy, but as of right now, he's not.
We don't know still.
I mean, maybe he is, but that's not set in stone. So keep looking. Keep looking for backup guys. Keep sending in tips. Like,
keep
somebody
looking for monsters.
has done something.
Yeah. That's horrible. And these girls deserve justice. They are so sweet.
Yes.
Oh, I can't. The minute I saw Elizabeth's face, I was like, oh my God. Like, no, she looks like a baby.
Seriously, like
it's horrible for
my
both of them.
My fucking daughter.
Yeah, it's horrible for both of them. But I just, like, when I see such, like, an
face.
absolutely innocent face, you think of, like, what could go through somebody's head where they could possibly inflict harm on that face. Like,
literally a baby face with a big personality.
Oh my God. Ugh. Like, the biggest eyes and the biggest smile. Like, ugh, that's so wrong. And, like, Lyric had a tumultuous life. Like, that's not the way. Like, no. They deserve justice 100%. So keep your eyes and ears open, guys. No tip is too small. It might just be the right one. So that's all I'll say there. And yeah, if you enjoyed the show, which you're still here, so we know you do, remember to rate, review, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. That rating and review is the best way to help us out and to help more people find this story because it needs to be lifted. Share it with your friends. Even if you're not a fan of the show and you come across this case and you know somebody in this area, share it. They might have details that the police need to know about. Check out those tip lines in the comments below, and
we'll see you
stay
next
safe.
week with a
keep
another
your baby safe.
Crazy episode.
Yeah. Do we want to tell the people what we have or no?
Nah.
Well, we'll keep them on their toes.
Next week is, I think, going to be a little easier, but that's all.
A little less dark.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And as always, you can follow us on all social media platforms. You can find Twisted and Uncorked everywhere. The only place that we're not Twisted and Uncorked is Twitter, and we are Twisted_pod because some asshole took that one first. If you're listening, please give us our name. That would be great.
I'm gonna go creep on them. I didn't know that.
Yeah, she when Caitlin made the account, she tried to put Twisted and Uncorked, and she couldn't. So she chose. She tried to do like Twisted something, and then couldn't, and then like Twisted_pod was literally one of the only available domains. Yeah, if you want to support the show, like I said, you can leave a rating and review, scream at people on the street about how awesome Sierra and Alecia from Twisted and Uncorked are, and you can also support us on Patreon if you feel so inclined. You can find lots of bonus content, series recaps and discussions, urban legends. We put all sorts of spooky stuff on there, and those links are all in the below in the episode description. Yeah, that's it. Sierra has broken my heart today.
I'm sorry. Next week will be better. Come back.
Yes. No, cases like this are hard. When I first started Twisted and Uncorked, I covered the Delphi cases, our second episode. Like, there are just certain things that need to be told, and we are thankful to have an audience and a platform to be able to do that. So stay safe, keep your babies safe, and keep your eyes and ears open for any information. And we'll see you next Tuesday for a new episode. And in the meantime,
keep it twisted.
Do you like spooky stories?
Do you like true crime?
Are you a fan of the Southern United States?
If so, and if not, you should listen to Haunted Hospitality.
Hosts Robin
and Zoe
are two spooky gingers doing deep dives into Southern stories.
At Haunted Hospitality, we cover all things haunted and Southern.
Borrowed in blue,
till death do us part.
We've talked about
the ghosts of the Biltmore Estate,
the Wolfric family axe murders, and many more. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts.
Or wherever else you can find podcasts. We're probably there.
Oh hey, we should probably mention that we're friends.
Are we though?
As two acquaintances, we get up to fun shenanigans.
And share something Southern in every episode.
As two Southerners,
I'm not a Southerner,
we are uniquely qualified to share these stories with you.
So give us a listen.
Subscribe and review.
And always remember to stay spooky.